Corley here from livelyco. Today I'm doing a quick video to cover off a question that we get asked all the time, and that's what social media channels do you need to be on? So there are really just three things that you need to ask yourself to determine what social media channels you need to be on. The first question you want to ask yourself is, where is your audience? So let's start by taking a look at Facebook. Here's some of the demographics that we're seeing. There are more than 2 billion active monthly users, making it the largest social media network. So 82% of 18 to 29-year-olds are on Facebook, 79% of 30 to 49-year-olds are on Facebook, 63% of 50 to 64-year-olds are on Facebook, and in that 65 plus category, which is really broad, currently statistics show that 56% of that demographic is on Facebook. Something else to note about Facebook is that 53% of its users are female, 49% of its users are male, which is almost a 50-50 split. So let's have a quick look at Instagram now. Instagram has more than 800 million active monthly users and 300 million active daily users on its Instagram Stories feature. About 68% of its users are women and 32% are men. So if we break down those different age groups again, there are 59% of 18 to 29-year-olds are on Instagram, 33% of 30 to 49-year-olds are on Instagram, 18% of 50 to 64-year-olds are on Instagram, and then in that 65 plus category, which is again pretty broad, only 8% of that demographic is on Instagram. Now, if we have a quick look at Twitter, Twitter is sitting around 330 million active monthly users, so quite a bit less than Facebook and quite a bit less than Instagram. And there's about a 50-50 split between female and male users. So if we break down those different age groups for Twitter, we'll find that 36% of 18 to 29-year-olds are on Twitter, 23% of 30 to 49-year-olds are on Twitter, 21% of 50 to 64-year-olds are on Twitter, and then again in that broad category, 65 plus, we find that only 10% of them are actively on Twitter. So that covers off roughly the age demographic and gender demographic, the difference between those three major social media channels. But the second question that you need to ask yourself is going to help you drill down that much further. So secondly, you need to ask yourself, on which social media channel are you getting the most engagement? If you're on a social media channel and you're finding that you're posting at optimal times and you're still not getting much engagement, either your posts need reworking or perhaps your audience just simply isn't there. If you have a strong feeling that your audience is on a particular social media channel but you're just not getting traction, definitely give it a good shot. Have a good look at those insights. Make sure that you're posting at optimal times and you have great content before you do without that social media channel altogether. And the last question that you want to ask yourself is, of course, the most important, and that's, what do you realistically have time to manage? As many of you know by now, I'm a huge advocate for social media. It can do wonders for your business, but I'm also the first person to tell you that you don't need to be on 5 social media channels if you don't have time to manage them well. So if you find by and large the majority of your audience is on Facebook and perhaps Instagram, but you don't have time to manage both, you definitely want to be able to manage your Facebook page and do it well before you spread yourself too thin. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, I can actually manage 3 in 1 because when I post on Instagram, I can send it automatically through to Facebook and automatically through to Twitter. But you definitely don't want to do that. By doing that, you're signaling to Facebook and Twitter that you're not actively using those apps, and it's actually going to affect your posts and how they do differently than if you were to post it directly in those apps. By not being actively engaged on those other channels and by cross-posting, you're also missing out on the opportunity to respond to direct messages more immediately and engage with other businesses that you otherwise would be engaging with if you were directly on those channels. So if you're new to social media and you're asking yourself, what channels do you need to be on? Definitely ask yourself, where is your audience? Where are you seeing the most engagement? And what do you realistically have time to manage? I always tell people when they're starting out on social media to avoid getting overwhelmed, just start with one channel and do it well. And then a couple weeks or a couple months down the road, add that second channel and start posting to a second channel. And that can really help avoiding getting overwhelmed. That wraps up today's video. Thank you so much for watching. To learn more about us and what we do, you can go to livelyco.ca.